Good morning and welcome everybody to the Police and Fire Commission meeting this morning. Need to do a roll call, please.
Pinker,
Yes.
Meek,
Yes.
Schutz,
Yes.
Gershman, is not here, Hanson.
Yes. This would be the portion for public comment or correspondence. Any comments from public? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to staff updates. First one, social media policy for police and fire departments.
I can take that one. I emailed the commission a couple weeks ago with HAP's draft on a policy. You've probably noticed that was drafted off the WASA platform. Since then, we've had some conversations, and actually I believe that the commission wanted us to try to launch off the Lexipol policy, so there was some confusion there, but we had some conversations with Everett, our fire department rather, having their policy coming up here too. We thought that it would be best, since they're both Lexipol, to try to have one policy, or at least close to one policy for you guys to review rather than having two separate ones. Because they're on Lexipol, I would imagine that they're going to be pretty close. Talking it over with HAP, he thought that maybe that would be a good direction, and possibly be able to mesh in the city policy, make it closer with ours too. So we decided that it'd be best to table it for now and have HAP work on that combined policy in effort to be able to more streamlined. So there'll be more coming. I just talked with HAP yesterday and he said he's going to be on it right away. So should have it soon.
Excellent. Wood County Emergency Management Road Barriers.
I'm gonna have Deputy Chief Barnes present on that.
All right, so we have received the road barriers to protect the city when we have our big events and all that, to block the roads and all that. I got them all, section of it out in the apparatus bay for us to go look at when you're ready, so you can see how they move and operate and stuff like that. So we will be using those for the holiday parade. I did training with Main Street Marshfield last night with a group of volunteers. I'll be doing training Monday with the street department on how to set these up and all that. They're pretty interesting units themselves. They're called the MBX3 system. They're designed to basically, if a vehicle tries to drive through the barrier, it makes the vehicle go up. It punctures the engine block and all that, completely immobilizes the vehicle in its tracks. These are designed to stop a 7-ton vehicle or higher at 60 miles an hour. And all that. So, I mean, they will move, but it will disable that vehicle from getting to where we don't want it to go. So I got one of the units out here. It's two separate kind of units out there in the trailers. Each trailer holds enough barriers to cover 20 lanes of traffic. So we'll be setting up quite a bit. It was all donated. It was a collaboration between the PD, RPD, along with Rapids, the city's PDs and fire departments and all that, with Wood County Emergency Management. They put in a grant quite a while ago and kind of went through a whole process through a foundation, and they ended up getting funded for both trailers of over $450,000 donated for both of these trailers, and then can be used throughout the entire county through our events. So what we're going to start doing is we're going to line up all our major events that we're going to be requesting these, and then we'll pick them up, set up, deliver them out where the site's going to be. Working with the street department and the event coordinators and all that, we'll get that all set up for the events and all that, break them down, and then we'll take them back to Wood County to park them for whoever's going to use it for the next event, so they can be used out through the entire county then. So, but once we're ready and like that, if you guys want to go out and you see the demonstration, all that, I got a station car pulled out. I got a section of basically 4 of them put together. Like I said, we can go up to 10 lanes wide on these and move them around. And there are 2 different sets in there. One's got all the wheels on it, one doesn't. They work exactly the same, just that one's more mobile, easier, but takes a little longer to set up. Where the other ones, you just got to kind of put casters underneath them and adjust them, pop the casters off, and set them right on the ground directly. So it's very interesting system. You look at how simplified it is, and what it can do. It's just amazing what little bit will stop a vehicle that size. So.
I did have one other another topic too that I wanted to bring up. We had the FD interview process held on 10/29. Commissioner Panker was good to come in and work with us on that. Deputy Chief Jonas, Lieutenant Lance Christopher, and HR Specialist Peggy Lyle and myself all sat in on those interviews. With that interview, we had 5 interviewees, and we've selected 3 from there that are all going to be in the career track 2. All 3 have accepted the positions, and we're working through what we need to do for that. They're looking at the pre-employment screening right now. We'll have 1 start in 2025, and the other 2 are scheduled to start in 2026 per the referendum. So just want to keep everybody up to speed on what's going on there. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Approval of minutes of the October 9th, 2025 regular meeting.
Move to approve.
Second it.
A motion and a second. Do we have any discussion or changes? Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
All right.
Any opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Approval of police department bills.
Thank you. There's 3 sets of bills in your packet. 2 were signed by Commissioner Meek on the 15th and 29th of October. The last one was signed by Commissioner Schutz yesterday. When I reviewed, I didn't see anything that stood out, but I'm certainly willing to answer any questions and ask for your approval.
On page 6E,
Okay.
no, 6C, excuse me. There's a reimbursement for meals at a Wisconsin canine conference.
Mhm.
And then later on in the packet, perhaps it's in the next packet, the expenditure there is $1,000.
Yeah, that's for rooms, the travel, fuel, and hotel rooms. When our canine handlers go to school, they have to have separate rooms because the dogs go with them.
Okay, so this is all inclusive?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Any other discussion? Do we need a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
And we need a roll call on that one, please.
Baker,
Yes.
Meek,
Yes.
Schutz.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes. Approval of fire department bills.
Thank you. We had 3 sets of bills this month. The first was approved by Commissioner Gershman on October 13th. Second was approved by Commissioner Panker on October 29th. And the third was approved by Commissioner Schutz on November 12th. There's one bill that really stood out to me, and that was going to be the tactical EMS training on page 7D. That was offered October 2nd through the 5th, 2025 at Mid-State Technical College. That was an opportunity we took advantage of because of the fact that they were running the class here locally. It helped us to really stop travel, so we didn't have to send somebody somewhere for travel, and basically just had the tuition and a little bit of overtime on that one. So we wanted to utilize that time. That's obviously on the bigger project that we're working on for the TEMS program. We're looking to present next month, if not in January. We did send Miller, Cook, Gessert, and Glad. So we've got a team of 6 right now that are ready to go with the TEMS program when it comes time. Other than that, those are all the bills. All the rest of the bills seem to be normal business for us. I'd be happy to answer any questions the commission will have.
Any comments or discussion for chief? If not, we can get a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Baker,
Yes.
Meek,
Yes.
Schutz,
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes. Police department activities, training reports, and correspondence packet.
Okay, in your packet, I think you'll notice that we had a lot of training again. That's kind of it's one of our deals we like to do. So we also had, well, actually, I want to point out on page 8B, We have a list on the 14th, but there were several trainings. We had CPR training here at the fire department. I wanted to point out and actually thank, Deputy Chief Bakos and then Jen Saduskas and Matt Wolf. They did an awesome job, and we got our whole department through CPR training. So thank you very much, guys. And I know that was a lot of work for them, and they did an awesome job. So wanted to make a special point to thank them. Other than that, I think is pretty routine, but I'd be happy to answer any questions before they're placed on file.
Right on the first page, you've got the packet in response to suicide bombing incidents in New Mexico. I know you had explained the funding on that. What sort of material did they bring back for us?
They talked a lot about, it was actually a lot of hostage rescue is what they did. So they did a lot of dry runs and so it was really, it seemed to be more, the way they explained to me, it seemed to be more of a fine tuning or different options of the same things that we were doing. They haven't shown me in the tactics, which worries me a little bit because I don't know if they're trying to take me out. But at the same time, all the members of the team that went thought it was amazing and they're really appreciative of going to school.
Did they, I know it says suicide bombing, so
Yep.
I assume they worked around bombing situations?
Yep, bombing was a big part of it, and they learned about different types of bomb. It's not like the great big suits that really stick out in public anymore. They can, it's actually a lot smaller. It was also a benefit to be there with the people from departments from all over the United States because the tactics and rationale is very different in different parts of the states. And so I can say after hearing some of the stories that we're in Wisconsin, we are way ahead of many other states in our tactics and in our mindset. So
I was glad to see that this was sponsored at New Mexico Tech. They've had a history of explosives research, teaching people in the mining field.
it was they were all, like I said, very appreciative to go to the school and they got a lot out of it. So.
Any other questions or comments for Chief? Okay, thanks, Jody. Okay, we're gonna have a presentation here this morning. Police Department Strategic Plan presentation.
Turn the heat on now.
If everything goes right, the PowerPoint won't.
Give me some water. Okay. All right, good morning. Second week in a row, you get a PowerPoint. We'll see, our second month in a row, rather. Hopefully this will work today. I have about 10 slides or so, and so hopefully we can keep this to about 15, 20 minutes. So I don't want to kill you by PowerPoint. In your packets, there's a memo describing the strategic plan. This presentation is meant to supplement that information to give you a sense of the direction that we want to go. There's no way that we could list all of the things that we want to achieve or do in the next 5 years, but I think there's enough of a sample there for you can see where our mindset is and the direction that we see our department going, and how we want to provide a service for our community.
Sure, I work for you.
Probably don't have it turned on. Swear to God.
Got
Hey, there we go. Thanks, buddy. All right. It's not my intention. I don't want to read the PowerPoint to you, so I'm going to kind of have the things up here for you to read. When creating a strategic plan, it's important to review the mission, the vision, and core values. Here is our mission. The mission of the Marshfield Police Department is to partner with the community to increase safety while reducing crime and fear through progressive policing. This is the mission that we've had for a while. In reviewing it, we feel that it still matches what we do in our department and what's important to our department. We didn't make any changes to our mission statement from the previous strategic plan. In our vision, we also thought our vision is still accurate. We serve the Marshfield community through policing excellence, and that's what we're striving to do. And we felt that if it isn't broke, we're not going to fix it. We couldn't think of any better way to describe what we aim to do or what our vision is. So we kept this as well. Our core values, many of you, I think everybody except Commissioner Schutz was on the commission when we redid this last year. This was really the start of our journey through our strategic plan. We used the book that was written by Patrick Lencioni to guide us through this. And our core values are in 3 separate sections. There's the permission to play, or the absolute non-negotiable core values that we have in our department, which is on the bottom. Integrity, accountability, and dignity. Those are the 3 characteristics that we feel that at the stage in which we're hiring somebody, we can't teach people to have those things if they don't already have it. So those are the absolute basic values that we want to have in any of our employees in our department. In the middle, selfless service and train for success, those are our true core values. Those are what we feel describes our department. We have a history of selfless service. I could go on for days about how we respond to things that don't fit nicely into other packets, like flooded basements, live animals in places where they don't want live animals. We've unplugged toilets. You know, these are all things that we've done that don't relate to law enforcement, but it is a service to our community. And our department is proud to do those things and to help out where we can. Training for success, I don't know how many times I've reiterated how proud I am of our department and the ability that we have because of you folks and the city to train more than many other departments that are our size. And that shows, I believe, in our service, and it really comes out when we go to events that have other departments. Most often those are the SRT. If we have an SRT competition, our department usually performs at the top level. And that shows that reflects all of the training that we're able to do. And finally, on the top is aspirational goals. Those are efficiency and community focus. These are things that we do well, but we always want to strive to do better. It's like we're striving for perfection in these areas. We always want to become more efficient, and we always want to strive to be more community focused and to reach out and engage with our community. Assistant Chief Esser was able to come up with this fancy design. We've got this plastered everywhere, from mouse pads to bulletin boards all around our department. We want to have it almost like a branding. We want to have everybody know what our core values are. I have this on my office wall, and it helps me guide through tough decisions that are happening, through budgetary issues, and all of these things that don't have a real playbook. This is what we refer back to as our playbook. And it would be a pretty cool t-shirt, I think.
I'll take one.
Got it. We found that our department, we believe, is based on 4 pillars: invest, modernize, engage, and advance. First, we focus, as I just mentioned, on our employees. You know, we are in the service business, which deals, and we deal with people on their worst days, and/or we handle dangerous situations to carry out our mission. To be successful, we need to invest in our employees so that we can give them the tools to carry out our mission. Another pillar is our modernized. I equate that a lot to our environment. We need to provide space for our employees to work, collaborate, and grow. And that has to be modern, and we have to give them tools to do that. We have our community, so we want to engage in our community. It goes without saying that our community is a fundamental reason that we exist, and we need to build and maintain trusting relationships with them. And finally, we need to recognize that in order to stay effective, we need to be responsive to changes that are happening in our profession and in our community. So to break down these pillars even more, we'll start with invest. I'm going to skip through here. So successful employees have to be healthy, trained, and supported. We want to be able to provide them with the resources that will promote their success so that they'll be able to provide excellent service to our community. We have a history of investing and training in our officers, and we want to continue that tradition. That's great. We also want to continue our officers' wellness initiative. In addition to the physical wellness and resources, we're committed to strengthening officers' mental wellness as well as their spiritual wellness. We'll continue to provide yearly psychological updates, or checkups rather, and look for other resources where we can help support our officers who may be dealing with crises, whether that be in our work environment or home environment. An example of where we can grow in this area is establishing peer support in our department, which we're already taking steps to do. There, our officers can help either other officers within our department, or there's also a lot of resources at the state level to where officers from different departments who don't feel comfortable reaching out to people that they work with and know and want to talk to another peer from a different department, there's ways that they can do that. We want to be part of that community so we can help other officers and also have that resource for our people. We want to grow our chaplain program. It's grown exponentially since I've been, the last 4 years since I've been chief, for almost 4 years. And that's credit to Assistant Chief Esser. Our chaplains have become a very important part of our department, and we want to be able to invest in them as well so that they can get the training and provide our officers with support when they need to. We're also looking for ways that we can support our officers' financial well-being. It's no secret that cops tend to spend a lot of money. So we want to be able to start in the FTO program about teaching our newest officers about investments into retirement and budgeting. And we feel that our officers can provide a lot better service to our community if they're not worried about making the bills at the end of the month. So we want to give them those tools as well in our department and get them set up so that they can be comfortable outside of work as well and not distracted while in work. Also, part of supporting our employees is to make sure that we're staffed appropriately. If we're not staffed appropriately, then our officers have to come in and work more often, which disrupts their life-work balance. So we want to take steps so that when we have an opening, we're ready to move quickly and fill that position. It takes time to fill a position, so we want to make sure that we're poised and ready to take action as soon as we have that opening. Some of that has to do with our recruiting. Recruiting is so important. We need to engage potential employees before we have the opening. I want to have a list of people who want to work in our department so that when that opening happens, I don't have to sell the department. So some ways that we're doing that currently is, we have a number of officers that are in our tech schools and building relationships with our tech schools. And when we do that, we're creating a reputation. And people are getting to know us through those instructor situations. That's helped out quite a bit. We're looking to do that more often. We want to make sure that people know Marshfield. We want to have a good reputation. We want to make sure that people want to work here. We also want to make sure that we're keeping our other processes current. We want to make sure that we have an effective promotion process. So we need work in this area right now. I think that it would be a lot better for us to have some sort of cookie cutter, if you will, approach to our processes so everybody knows what's expected. The challenge that we're finding with that is that not every position is a cookie cutter position. There's different strengths that we're looking for in different positions. So we're working through that process to try to find a fair way to have a promotional process. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that our employees know what's expected when we're looking for a promotion. We want to make sure that our job function test is current and that we have current department policies and we keep up with that. Those are living documents, so to speak. They change often. There's a lot of maintenance involved in policies and job function. So we want to make sure that we're staying up on that and staying current with the times. That, if we can do that, I believe that'll provide a lot of stability for our people. And again, that speaks to retention, recruitment, our reputation, and it's all tied together. We need to be modern. We want to modernize always. That helps us. That's staying current, right? So our officers need to have an environment that promotes efficiency, safety, and effective workspaces. Now, our new building will address all of these issues. Okay. However, we also need to be able to pivot. we're in hard financial times. It's an unsteady market. There's a possibility that the new building doesn't go. We want to make sure that we're taking steps, if we stay in our current building, that we can provide a modernized area or a place that's safe, as efficient as possible, and an effective workplace. So we're finding ways to have a plan B, so to speak, just in case. But as we're designing the new building, these are at the forefront. We want to make sure we have collaborative spaces. We want to make sure that we have secure parking areas. We want to make sure that we have appropriate safety measures and monitoring, and all of those things are very important for us as we go through the design of a new building. We want to make sure that our shooting range is up to date and safe. Now, that's something that we've enjoyed the entire time since I've been in our department. We've had a great range, but there's maintenance that's involved in that. Our range is pivotal to our interdepartmental training, and we also host some joint trainings out there. And so we want to make sure that we keep up with that, and that we have a safe environment that's out there and that's also modern to the times. Our records division has seen probably the most change in our department. In the last 4 years, that's the area that's received the most change, I think. We've made a lot of improvements in efficiency in our records department. There's also some things we need to keep an eye on. AI is probably would affect that department more than any other division within our department. So we need to continually balance the benefits and the negatives of AI, because we need to make sure that we're being efficient, but we're not sacrificing the integrity of our records. So that's a delicate balance that we're going to be dealing with for the next 5 years. I think that there's going to be a lot of great advancements that's going to make our lives much easier in a lot of ways. But we also have to be careful that we're doing this in a way that's not going to jeopardize our records at all. We also recognize that at our festivals and events that they are a target-rich environment. And we talked earlier about our barricades. That was one of the examples that we've looked at, where we can try to at least isolate those target-rich environments and protect them as much as possible. We need to continue working. Unfortunately, our world is in a way to where we need to continue working on ways that we can protect those events. Not only that, but we also have to recognize other target-rich environments that are in our community. We've worked on the schools for, since 1999. With Columbine, we've been building our response to school shooting, and I think that we're getting to an area where that's become pretty efficient. We need to do the same thing to our events. We need to do the same thing for our churches. We need to do the same things for our businesses. We need to find ways that we can be proactive in those situations. We also want to, in connection with providing safe areas for our target-rich environments, that we want to continue to collaborate with our community partners. I think our RTF has been an excellent example of how the police and fire can work together and have a unified response to these dangerous situations. We want to continue doing things like that. And we want to continue to work with the fire department, obviously, but also the street department, everybody involved in emergency management, and our neighboring departments. We want to be able to utilize as many resources as we possibly can in order to have the safest environments that we can provide. Whoops. It's working too good now, Everett.
That's not sufficient.
All right. We're finding ways to engage in the community, even if it's just through presence. It builds trust. It builds trust with our community when they see us in it. So we can't be hiding in the station. We've got to be out in the public, even if it's just driving around, or seemingly driving around. I promise you, they're not just driving around. Many community programs during COVID fell short, and that lessened our presence. So we're in the process of building that back. It's been a slow roll, but we're starting to get momentum in those areas. We feel that there's a great benefit in engaging the community and providing education to crime trends as well as prevention. And we want to engage the community wherever they are. We want to go to them. So not just in the schools, but out in the community. So in the coffee shops, in the parks, and at events. In connection with that as well, our methods of delivering messages in our community has changed drastically over the years. We use social media, which comes with potential pitfalls. We've been talking about our policy and how we can try to overcome some of those pitfalls. Local news sources haven't been as prevalent as they have been in the past. Which means that we have to find more creative ways and different ways to reach our community and to engage them. A PIO could provide opportunities to engage the public more effectively and keep up with the legal requirements attached to all of these other media or messaging platforms. We'll continue to research the need and also the ability to obtain a PIO. And I think we're going to have to think outside of the box, but I believe that in this next 5 years is going to become more and more, we're going to develop more and more of a need to have a PIO. Also, I want to mention our volunteers. We have our auxiliary police has been an amazing resource for our department for many years. They have helped us in everything from special events where it gets our presence out there, and all the way to some critical incidents where they can have more, like if we have a missing person or those things. They've provided us services that we may not have been successful without them. It's hard to keep volunteers today. It's very difficult to find people that are willing to donate their time for civic duty. But I believe if we can involve our auxiliary more often, and as often as possible, I should say, that's going to get their presence out more. It's going to maybe get people more interested in becoming involved in auxiliary, and perhaps it can help us engage our community more effectively. So we want to focus on ways that we can involve our volunteers as often as possible. And finally, becoming an accredited agency would build trust with our community. This process will take more than 5 years to achieve. However, we need to ensure that we're taking steps in the right direction so that when the time is right to become accredited, that we can do that. This is especially important in our building design. We've been working with BKV, who is proficient in designing police departments and is aware of the accreditation issues, and so we're making sure we're not misstepping and creating something in our building design that will prevent us from becoming accredited later on. We're trying to find ways in our daily activities to help us be accredited, such as mentioned before, keeping our policies up to date. And there's a lot of moving parts to it, but it is hopefully in our future. The final pillar is advance. In many ways, this pillar is a culmination of all the other pillars. For instance, we invest in training our officers so that they can identify trends and implement strategies. Many of the topics that are covered in this pillar are related to the other three pillars. We felt that that's a good way to tie some action into our goals. We have another list, some more examples of what we felt would fall into our advanced category. Ultimately, like I said in the beginning, this isn't the list of all the things that we're going to achieve, but I think that we have a clear direction, and I think it shows what's important to us and hopefully to you as you're leading our department. I will be asking for approval of this, but before that, I wanted to have a chance to maybe address any questions or have a dialogue about where we are with our strategic plan.
When you're talking about, excuse me, reaching the highest levels of certification, is that coming out of the International Association of Chiefs of Police or the International Standards Organization?
The International Chiefs of Police, I believe, is what sets the accreditation. I would have to research that to be sure, though, Phil.
And you said that will probably take about 5 years, start to finish.
Well, I think it'll take more than 5 years to get to that level. But I want to make sure it's on our horizon and we don't lose focus of it. Being accredited, it's expensive.
Yes.
It is expensive to do, but I think it pays dividends in the trust that we can build with the community.
Earlier, you had said that, well, the folks that were in New Mexico and some of the activities that we have in state, that we are ahead in a lot of departments.
Wisconsin as a whole is.
Right. So locally, we could really look at a broad section of leadership from the top all the way down to the officers in the field. Would you say that we've got a department that is extremely interactive and extremely cross-disciplinary?
Are you talking like as far as our ability to respond to tactics, or are you talking?
In terms of the group itself. So we don't have standalone people. We are an interactive group across the board.
Yes, and actually, kind of connected with that, as an example, our Wisconsin's use of force. So take it outside of our department and look statewide. Wisconsin teaches a unified use of force. So what's taught in Superior is taught in Milwaukee. Okay, so the whole state. Now, any officer in the state that's trained in use of force can look at an incident and plug in how the officer responded to a use of force and match it to what's taught or trained in our state. Other states don't have that. You know, in some states it's still to where if your defensive tactics instructor is a boxer, your department learns how to box, and so on. So there isn't a unified approach to the use of force. That example kind of stretches across many disciplines within law enforcement career. Our emergency vehicle operations, our patrol tactics, our response to active shooter, all of those things are becoming more unified across the state, which means not only are all of our officers trained the same, but so are all of the departments. And that's where we really start to strive, where we don't get, it's more of a unified way of thinking. We don't have somebody looking at a situation and coming up with a totally different response than a different person. It's more unified. That's where we really advance over other states. And our department and our officers are all trained in that system, and that helps immensely.
Right. And I've mentioned this numerous times before. The amount of training that we do on a monthly basis is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's important to us too, and our officers love it. And I can tell you that we have a reputation of supporting our officers and training our officers, and that's a tradition that I want to keep here.
No, you also mentioned increasing public content. I know we do walkthroughs at some of the larger establishments. Do we do anything, or are we going to start to return to, for instance, downtown, the periodic walking beat?
It's probably not the way it used to be. You know, a beat the way that it used to be probably isn't the most efficient way to do it right now. But I want, on the administrative level, I want to be more active with my role at like Main Street Marshfield, so where I can learn about what our businesses want and need from our department. I want to be approachable. I answer my phone, I answer my emails. You know, if I want to be able to know what our business owners want from our department. If that means that we're going to be walking the beat again, then yes, then I think that's something that we need to do. Additionally, our peace program. I think our peace program is an excellent example of how we want to engage the community. It may not be downtown, but we're going to be at events where people that are usually in downtown will be attending, and we can reach them at that level too. So we're trying to do a multi-pronged approach to that sort of engagement.
Any other questions or comments for Chief?
Thanks for getting this working, guys. It's a nice change.
I'm glad we got through that and everything worked.
And amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so we need to, request to approve the police department strategic plan. We need a motion.
I will move to approve the plan.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We need a roll call.
Discussion.
Oh, discussion first, sorry. I'm still getting this thing done. Any discussion?
That was a good presentation, so it made sense.
My only question is, I didn't see where this playbook is gonna come into play and how it fits in.
That was actually in the development of our plan. So that was, steps that we took in the process of building the entire plan.
Okay, so this was just sort of
Yep, that's
a way,
also-
a way to get to what you
Yep,
have.
okay, that's also out of that, Patrick Lencioni book to help us
Okay.
guide us through the process.
Okay. Any other comment or discussion? Now we can have a roll call, please.
Pinker,
Yes.
Meek,
Yes.
Schutz.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes. Accept the resignation of police officer Isaac Kobza, effective November 3rd. I hope I pronounced that right.
Yep, you got it. Isaac was an absolute delight to have in our department. We hired him only about a year ago. Isaac went through Mid-State Tech is where I met him. And he was a full-time National Guardsman prior to getting in law enforcement. Kurt Hoyer from Mid-State Tech said that he met Isaac and found out that Isaac wanted to become in law enforcement at a job fair where he approached Kurt Hoyer and just started asking a whole bunch of questions about how to be a cop. And he excelled in school, and he came and he worked with us and did a great job. Then the National Guard also likes him, and so they approached him again and offered him a opportunity that he said he just couldn't pass up, and was a good thing for him and his family. So unfortunately, he decided to leave our department, but I wish him all the best, and we're going to miss having him around. With that, though, he did request a resignation, and I look for your approval for that today.
First, you do the accept the resignation and begin the proper recruitment process in one.
I'm okay with that.
Separate.
They're listed separate, but,
Okay.
you know,
Well, I move to approve the resignation of Officer Kobza.
Seconded.
motion and a second. Roll call.
Pinker,
Yes.
Meek,
Yes.
Schutz.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes. Wish him the best of luck. So,
We're going to miss him.
glad he could find an opportunity. Okay, approve, Police Chief Gearink's request to move forward with the hiring process to fill the vacancy.
With Isaac's resignation, obviously there's an opening. I think that we fortunately are in a good timing right now. There's 2 tech schools that are going to be graduating in about a month, which hopefully will give us a lot of applicants, or many applicants that are somewhat local even. In the past, we've had applicants reach out from other states as well. So I think that we're hitting the timing right to where we could get some really qualified people here. I would look for approval to fill this position so that we can become fully staffed again.
I'll motion to approve it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Pinker,
Yes.
Meek,
Yes.
Schutz.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, approve utilizing Giving Back Inc. to raise money with the goal of purchasing enough EpiPens to equip all of the police department's first responding officers.
You'll see in your packets that I did write a memo regarding this event, I guess I could call it. This program stemmed from the death of Andrew Mueller, who was a Wood County resident and tragically died after he ate a peanut M&M, and didn't know that he was allergic to peanuts. It was tragic. His family has started this initiative. I believe that all of the other departments in Wood County at least have been able to obtain EpiPens at some level. I would like to, Giving Back Inc. has been has been doing fundraisers to get money. They buy the EpiPens and then provide those to us. I would really like to have an EpiPen with every officer, similar to as we do with Narcan. I'm afraid that they may be susceptible to weather if we keep them in the cars. I think that we can have better control, and we could have better, more efficient access to them if every officer is carrying them. The quote that we had from, or that we were given from people that were involved in this program, for an adult dose is like $90, which is a really good price, even though it's expensive. That was through Wisconsin Rapids. At this point, I haven't been able to reach out to that pharmacy to make sure that that's the cost, so that could fluctuate a little bit. Using Giving Back Inc., though, they would raise money for us, and then with the money they raise, it would either purchase or offset the whole cost of purchasing one for each officer if we could. If not, I'd like to at least build towards that goal, and I believe that we can manage this in the budget, similar to as we do with other more expensive items in the future, like rotating. So we can rotate half of the stock or a quarter of the stock at a time, depending on what their expiration dates are, and how we can keep fresh stock in our department. I guess I'm asking for permission to see how much money Giving Inc. could raise for us, purchase what we can with that, and then we could plan in the future to with having a goal of having all the officers have one.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve, and I'm greatly enthused that you guys engaged in doing this. I worked with an officer that worked at Marshall PD that was allergic to bee stings, hornets, etc. And I know other people do have those same things. So this is wonderful. It's too bad it was implemented through a tragic event of somebody with a peanut allergy, but I'm thankful for that family. Yeah.
Is there any data that, like, just on how many times that we could have used that?
I don't have that data at all. And it's like with Narcan, you know, if you can do it once and save somebody's life,
Right.
it's worth it.
Right.
But I don't have data.
Just
Yeah.
It's Steve with the worship. Second.
Any other discussion or questions? I just want to, ask the question. Is this possibly, because now you guys have the Narcan, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just wondering, do we get into a gray area with an EpiPen that now it's, kind of a medical thing? And can you explain the kind of training and things? Because if it's not administered correctly or something goes wrong, and where does that backlash come back on the department?
Exactly. Thank you. And I didn't mention that in the presentation. I should have. We would need to be trained. The fire department can do training for us. There's also an individual who volunteers time in this program to provide training for the officers. So we would need to be trained in that. At that point, it becomes actually in Wisconsin's system, we have to treat the level of our training. So when we become trained in EpiPens, then if the situation arises, that's the level that we're treated with. We're protected just as we would with any other response to any emergency that we go to, from car crashes to wherever, that as long as we're treating to the level of our training, then we're okay.
And then as far as the product and expiration, is that something where we would be allowed to rotate with the EMS department? cause I'm sure they're gonna be using it in more often. You know, is that an option, or is
I
that,
think it's
does that
something
get
that-
into weird medication laws?
It's actually something that, Steve and I were talking about a little bit. We want to see if we can work together that way as well. I don't know that if it's possible or not. The price if this price is accurate, that's a very good price, but I think that's because they have this initiative to get it out there. I don't think it's always gonna be that price.
Right.
But we're gonna be working very closely with them. I mean, I'm interested in looking for ways if we're buying, you know, if we have 40 officers, we're buying more bulk, maybe there's a deal that way. We wanna work together and see if we can get the best deal for us collectively.
And this giving back incorporated, would that be an ongoing thing? Or is it just a one-time thing to get you started?
Is a start, and then I think we take the ball from there, which would give us time to budget, because if we can, I think it's like a 2-year expiration, so next budget season, we could probably purchase somewhere around 20, and then rotate from there. We can decide at that point if it's gonna be half a year, half the next, or we have less, maybe a quarter, and rotate through. So however we can keep current and not outdated stock in and do it the least amount each year.
Sure. Okay. Any other questions or comments for Chief? We have a motion to approve in a second, so we need a roll call.
Pinker,
Yes.
Mink,
Yes.
Schutz.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Thank you. Please forgive me the floor for something.
Okay. Now that we're done with the police department.
We're done?
Fire department activities, training reports, and correspondence packet.
All right, thank you very much for letting me present here. Over the past month, I know you've heard us say this many times, we're busy, but if you look at this packet this month, we were especially busy with all the Fire Prevention Week activities and the training, the other trainings that we attended. So I give the crews here and I give everyone a really big round of applause as far as being able to sustain that and be able to do the job on a daily basis and still trying to bring that mission to the end. One point I really wanted to bring forward was the Fire Prevention in the Schools program. As you know, October is Fire Prevention Week for us, and what we do is we visit about 8 schools, 5 public and 3 parochial. In that time, we see about 2,700 kids. And when we do that, we have an opportunity to actually get in each one of those houses. It's not just about the kids and getting some education to them, but they take that education and those materials home to their parents. And it's one opportunity out of that year to be able to get that information out to them. This year was on ion batteries, and that's a big piece that's out there. I mean, ion batteries are lithium-ion batteries are something that are new to us. I mean, they've been around for a while, but we're starting to see kind of the fallout of having so many batteries out there and seeing the fires and how they can start. There have been a lot of deaths over the years, so this was a really fitting public education event that we could get out to the schools, and it went well. They did a very good job as far as putting those presentations together, and I'd really like to bring them in probably February just to talk a little bit about our Fire Prevention Week activities and to tell you a little bit more about that. One other one you're going to see is the squad committee. Squad 1 is nearing completion. As you know, last year we took that in. It took a little bit longer than we planned on. It was supposed to be a 6-month turnaround project. It turned out there was some delays and some equipment. And it seems like as an industry, when it comes to any of our fire apparatus, even ambulances, we're seeing major delays in everything that they're doing. So this is it's normal, I guess is what you'd say. It's our new normal in a sense. So we've seen that. We're hoping to take receipt of that next Monday and hopefully be getting that fitted up. So hopefully next month we can actually do a quick tour of that vehicle and show you some of the things that we're able to do. We put $150,000 in that vehicle. Again, what it cost us about $1 million to replace that vehicle. We looked at that vehicle as a 2004. It's got some age and some time on it, but it only had 2,500 miles on it. So we really felt like this was the best and most sustainable practice for that vehicle, and really refurbishing it was the best practice. And then one other item that we've kind of done over the year is trick-or-treat events. I know the PD takes part in a lot of the trick-or-treat events too. We've been taking part in more of those trick-or-treat events, and it's been good. I mean, that gives us the ability to actually get out there and give a safety message at the same time and make sure those events are safe. So we have seen some of those. Other than that, I guess that was everything that I saw this month that looked like items that should be pulled. I'd gladly answer any questions anyone may have on the commission.
On your trip to Marion, I'm going to assume that our team was pleased with what's taking place.
Yeah, so there's a few finer things. Anytime we have a vehicle being built up, we typically take a trip over, make sure everything's going the right way. And they had a few things that they pointed out. They've been able to really double down on that and make sure those are taken care of.
And I guess everybody on the commission was glad to see that we're taking this low mileage vehicle and upgrading it. For those of us that follow some of the fire service rules, the Milwaukee Fire Department is having some major apparatus problems because they were not doing ongoing maintenance. And they're having to share equipment from other departments, which is never good.
And that's, if you remember right, that was one of our strategic points. We had our strategic plan and something we've been already practicing. We do quite a bit of maintenance throughout the year. Those that look over the bills, you see that we do a lot of maintenance. We actually pull oil samples every year, and we try to see what's going on inside internally in each one of either the pump transfer cases, in the engine itself, just to see what's happening. And really, we're seeing a healthy fleet at this point that's going to be able to get us to the time where we get to replacement. So we're continuing to double down on that.
And I noticed that Chaplain Smith, as usual, has been at the station numerous times. I just want to add a parallel comment to that. About 2 weeks ago, Rabbi Alvin Cass, who was the chief chaplain for NYPD, died at the age of 89. He had served as a chaplain for 59 years. In fact, he was a 3-star chief in NYPD. And with that service, both as a chaplain and as a uniformed officer of NYPD, which was classified as, according to their commissioner, he was the longest serving officer in NYPD history. So hopefully Chaplain Smith can go that far as well.
You want to know?
Goals are good.
You got some time, actually, just want to highlight one thing with Chaplain Smith. He's been a wealth. Every day he's here smiling. He brings our people a lot of good message on Sundays too. But during the week he's here, he goes on calls with us. He's there for the families when they need him. I will say this, he helped us a couple times with a couple of our personnel. One last year lost a father, and he was able to be there for him and actually did the officiating. And then this year he actually married him. So it's kind of a cool event and be part of this practice of this family. So I think that speaks volumes. I know he does a lot for the police department too, but I can't say enough about him as far as what he does here at the Marshall Fire
Just
Department.
make sure you get him a white helmet and the official nameplate up on there.
We're working on that. Apparently 3 stars.
3 stars.
Any other questions or comments for Chief?
I have a question, on the public engagement for car seat install.
Absolutely.
How many people show up to that, and what's the process of sending that message out to people to come and do it, I guess?
Yeah, that's actually kind of a multi-pronged program. The PD's part of that, Wood County's part of that, we're part of it. We have a Wood County event that happens each month where they come in and basically we have a clinic is what they call it. We utilize one of our bays and they pull in. I mean, typically it can be anywhere from 10 people showing up to sometimes even have up to 20 people that show up. And then there's other times where they get 1 or 2.
Right.
So it's a hit or miss program on that particular part. I would say, and I'm going to kind of draw from Lori experience as far as doing the scheduling for that. Do you know how many roughly in a month that we do? I know we do quite a few.
It varies, but
Anywhere from 5 to 10.
At the police department, we had a lot of people trained to do the install at one time. And we actually haven't kept up with that part of it because these guys do a really good job and they're more accessible than we are a lot of times. So there's not as many in our department that are doing that. These guys have become, fire departments become kind of the experts in that area.
So who's the one that is it a poster on Facebook or that type of stuff that, hey, this is this date? Or is it on an actual website?
A good job of posting that out there for the clinic events.
Okay.
And then we have it on our Facebook, on our website, where we have a posting for car seat clinics. And then sometimes we have done some posts on there for Facebook, just to kind of say we do have that availability. We're trying to do a little bit more with Facebook. That kind of leads into the whole where we could possibly look at a PIO position to have a little bit more reference positions out there, more advertising for the programs that we're doing here. But yeah, that would be kind of how we do it. And then word of mouth seems to be the biggest one. A lot of people contact us just via word of mouth. You know, they talk to a family member that talk to a family member, and they know that we do it. When they come in, it's not just a simple put a car seat in and put a couple seat belts on it. It literally is making sure that car seat fits for that. And then there's a whole education component that goes along with how to put your child in, how to make everything conform to the child so that they're actually in the safest spot possible. So there's quite a bit there.
Have either of you reached out to the clinic? Maybe we
Commercial-
can come up with a pamphlet that can go in like the OB center, and people coming in there can see that and take a copy, get in contact with the department, make an appointment, etc.
Commercial clinic is also part of that program, so I know they also have some car seat technicians. I'm not sure where they're at in that program with the
Right.
Sanford changeover, but certainly something we could reach out to and kind of find out a little bit more about it. Just to see what they're doing and making sure that we're not paralleling programs. That was kind of one of our bigger parts of the strategic plan, was trying to not duplicate services, but bring the services together so that we can have the most effective program in the city.
Steve, I'm
but we'll get it.
fairly certain the staff at the hospital will actually check the car seats before the parents are allowed to leave. They were doing that even when my kids were born. So that's part of their program as well. They will check those seats before the parents can
Yeah,
leave.
one of our leads for our area that we actually get all our stuff checked off on yearly for our, get our re-credentials and all that. She's actually in the OB section up here. So,
Yeah.
so if they don't have this car seat, what we end up getting a big rash of is, like grandparents, where now the kids are coming for Christmas or holidays for a while. I need car seats, and they just, stop and do that. Or prior to the baby arriving, a lot of parents will come in and have the seats put in because they won't be allowed. OB will not allow them to leave with a child until that car seat's put in place and the child's sitting there. They actually physically go out and set them in for them, so they understand how that all works up there. They got a program of their own up there that does
In
it.
between the clinics, we do schedule them here. They'll
Yep.
call and Lori will set up the appointments.
Yep.
So we do it year round.
I apologize. I probably should have turned that over to Brian. Brian is actually one of our car seat technicians. I just hadn't thought about it. No, he does a great job on that. He catches some during the day, but we also have 2 per shift, right? Or we're working on 2 per
Oh,
shift.
we're trying to get back to 2 per shift.
That way we're always got somebody here that can maybe take care of that if need be.
I don't mean to be overzealous about this, but
Yep.
could there maybe be consideration of developing a pamphlet in coordination with the clinic? That these pamphlets are left like in the OB center, that they can go to any our local law enforcement, fire department, or the OB or the clinic or hospital that day or whatever, however it will work out with them, so that people are more engaged in the availability of your departments versus the clinic may work out better for them as well, just so that we're hitting all the avenues of approach for people.
Actually, I believe that'd be hard to get each party to look at that a little bit more.
And I like it that you mentioned the grandparents, because I went on vacation this past summer, I had to install one for my granddaughter. I hadn't done that in decades, and it's like, this is a little different.
Change or possibly change.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you for bringing that up. That actually is a really good point to segue into.
Yes, I guess my question is with that is, on all the, both police and fire, like when you do community events, like how are people knowing? I mean, I know my generation probably not gonna go to your website, Facebook, Instagram, that kind of stuff, and I guess that's what we were talking about, the social policy and all that stuff.
It's kind of weird because we were at Culver's for a fundraising event, and we had people approach us. They're like, "Hey, I heard you guys do car seats." Yeah, so we kind of did one right there. So the message is getting out somehow, but it wouldn't be a bad idea. Maybe having could connect it with maybe our Facebook and have a post at some point where we both can post once a year or something. That
Yeah.
I heard there's a community director here in the city that might know a little bit about something
I'm glad
about posting.
I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, I've been working with, I know both departments have been working with Tom quite a bit. We've been trying to work on some different programs. It's cost prohibitive right now. Where you can actually schedule out most of your posts throughout the year. You can actually have a whole monthly calendar. You can have those things on there. The one big one that was a problem is we wanted to make sure in case there was a big event in the city, we wanted to be able to hit an all pause. Because if we've got a tornado, we don't want to be putting out positive messages when the community is really impacted negatively. So we want to make sure we have that ability and that feature on there before we do something where we have an autopilot on it. But those are some of the things that we're working on in the background, trying to see what we can do to bring that together. Again, that's kind of a funding issue. I know there was some cost to that. We just need to look at how we can get past that and get to the next level of that. But I think in the meantime, we can certainly look at some different things to try to get more front-facing messaging out there to let everyone know that we have that program available. We'll work on that over the next year. Thank you.
Question for either of the chiefs. Several years ago, the Northern Wisconsin State Fair, Chippewa Falls, the DOT brought in a device that had a car body that they could rotate 360 degrees to demonstrate what happens when you're not wearing seatbelts.
Right.
If they still have that, has that ever been brought into our fair?
Yes, we have it.
We have.
Have we
So
brought it
we-
to the fair though?
We have. We actually owned that device for several years.
Gonna say, I thought you guys
And
had one.
it has been at the fair, for multiple years. It wasn't being utilized. We had a request for another department. They wanted to start utilizing it. So it's been, I think, donated to them, but we still have access to it if we want to bring it back.
Okay. Because I know Cindy and I were up there, saw the demonstration. And then when the person at the DOT puts the doll into the front seat, and this thing starts to rotate, and you see this doll whipping out the window.
It leaves an impression.
The number of people that turned whiter than your shirt was unbelievable. So, if that's available every once in a while, bring that up to the fair. And hopefully one of our technicians has appropriately installed the babysit and the doll stays there.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Thanks, Chief.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Review and approval of fire department policies and procedures.
I do have one policy that I do need to ask to be pulled.
Yeah, I know that, I see that on here.
Okay. We need to pull policy 1011. That's the overtime policy. Yesterday we were at a legal update and there's some things that have come down through the court cases and things. That I think we just need to have eyes on that again before we actually bring it forward and make sure that we've got everything taken care of on that.
Okay.
I guess we just asked that that one be removed and we'll bring it back at a later date.
Yeah, so then the motion would be to approve with the exception of policy 101.
You want to take questions now, or you want to take them after the motion?
Let's do the motion first.
Okay,
Motion.
make a second on that.
Any comments or discussion, questions?
On policy 316, which was trench rescues. Lieutenant Tackes and I had some really good discussion about all of these. When we came to trench rescue, as written, and this would be on the second page of that, looking at item E with minimally the equipment required, et cetera. Sub 3 simply listed helmet. And we had a discussion about that. What does helmet mean? I mean, are you talking a hard hat? Is it a cap? Is it a full brim? Is it a fire helmet? Is it a class 1, which is only vertical impact? Is it class 2, which is vertical and solid impact? Is it electrically resistant and so forth? So Paul suggested we do a technical rescue helmet. At least it was our belief that that would cover at a minimum of class 1, probably a class 2. What I did, was in the garage, I brought these out. This is a German helmet, which would fit the class 1 category, but not the class 2. And this one, because it has spots for clips, this is not rated for electrical conductivity. So in an electrical situation, and in pictures, you frequently see people wearing these. Again, this is only a class 1, but it has ventilation marks, so this would not be used in an electrical situation because of the conductivity. So Paul put in technical rescue helmet, which would cover class 1, class 2, situation dependent.
Go ahead.
No, so I've gone through the training. I'm certified in collapse rescue as well. One of the things, and I appreciate you looking out for the electrical, that's one of the things we're going to make sure is taken care of before we get anybody involved. So I don't think we'd need electrical for our helmets. And the helmet examples you have actually look very similar to our tech rescue helmets that we do have. I think it was left more general because it would cover also the firefighters that are on scene, not working directly in the trench,
Right.
but around the areas. So
Paul-
everybody has
Paul
it.
specifically mentioned that.
Awesome. Paul's good.
Any other comment or questions? Policies. We need a roll call, please.
Pinker,
Yes,
Meek,
Yes.
Schutz.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes. Fire service and law enforcement news updates.
well, we've got some in the packet. Some of these are rather inane, like Philadelphia is now going from light blue shirts to dark blue shirts, and they make a big deal about that. San Bruno, California, you may have heard of this one. They did a traffic stop on the Waymo vehicle, which was making illegal turns in front of a DUI enforcement vehicle. They could not issue a traffic citation to the person who was inside the vehicle because he wasn't driving. So they now have this interesting problem. What do we do with the Waymo? This goes back to Chief's presentation about hiring. Pierce County Sheriff's Office, which is in Washington, they are losing officers to nearby departments with higher salaries. In fact, Tacoma, Washington has hired 11 of the Pierce County officers as lateral transfers. The Tacoma City Council authorized to pay up to $50,000 lateral transfer bonuses to winning qualifications.
Do you have to stay a long time?
Yeah,
Ask
just
for a
It
friend?
doesn't say. Now, along with that, a day after the New York mayor's election, Houston, Texas Fire Department started advertising directed at NYPD. And I can bring this up. Here we go. And this is, it's a fairly large advertisement that was on Facebook. Very colorful, easy to recognize. NYPD, are you disgusted with the election of Zoran Mandani? Join us. The Houston Police Department is hiring police officers. Competitive pay with a 36.5% pay raise just approved over 5 years. Supportive mayor and city council. Contract passed unanimously. A cops chief who is a retired Texas Ranger and not a political appointee. Governor, lieutenant governor, and legislature supporting and passing positive law enforcement legislation, affordable housing, supportive citizens, affordable insurance, fair district attorney. They are offering substantial salaries, up to 5 years credit for prior service. And for special abilities, they offer additional bonuses. Along the same line, state of Florida, you may have seen Governor DeSantis on TV. They have a state program that offers up to $5,000 sign-on bonuses for out of state. And ICE has had during the summer an extensive advertising program. ICE will offer up to $50,000 sign-on bonus depending upon qualifications. They'll offer up to $60,000 for education loan repayment, and for special skills up to a 25% premium pay. And ICE has already signed on 18,000 people. You see the stats about manpower shortages, and you'll notice Houston and other things has a new recruitment program, which has kicked up their ability to attract people. I mentioned at the very end, oh, let me go to struck bys. Ohio State trooper was struck by a semi while assisting a disabled tractor trailer rig. The lights in the patrol car were operating and hit from behind. California officer assisting a motorist at the scene of a crash. Both of the people were struck by passing vehicles. Perrington, Texas, 2 firefighters were injured and 1 died. A motorist drove over a 5-inch hose, broke the coupling, and the hose started whipping around. One of the officers who knocked to the ground suffered severe injuries and succumbed to those at the hospital. And then Oklahoma, another one of these stupid not drive-bys, but struck-bys. Officers helping a pedestrian across the street. They get struck by a hit-and-run driver, but they got identification from a squad cam, and he was arrested, which was good. I had mentioned Fall River, Massachusetts, an assisted living fire. I think I mentioned that in August. The official summary is now out. I've got copies of this. It's very interesting. This was in an assisted living facility. It was a 3-story facility built in the 1990s. It's wood frame construction. It was a former hotel or motel. There were fire sprinklers. Depending upon which version you read, either the first version or the report, there either were no fire doors or the fire doors didn't close. The fire spread rapidly. There were 10 fatalities. The interesting one here is 27 people had to be removed by ladder rescue. And all of that was by ground ladders. And one of the recommendations was to increase ground ladder training. Interesting thing is that the apartments facing outwards all had a large window, and they also had a smaller bathroom window. Over the larger windows, they had installed air conditioners, and then on the sides, they had screwed into the face of the building plywood panels. So they actually had to rescue people through the bathroom windows to get the air conditioners off, to pry those off, and have a falling hazard one way or a falling hazard into the building. With the exception of the 10 fatalities, which they could not rescue, it was a fairly successful rescue. The 53 people they brought out. I indicated the number of units they had responding. Really interesting point here. And I've got a timeline on the back of the page. 7 minutes in, direct quote from the incident command, "Send me everyone you have." And Fall River has a substantial fire department. I think they have 146, 147 members. Within 15 minutes, they did have 33 firefighters on scene. You can see the recommendations. One of those was multilingual multi-language emergency preparedness guides for the residents and guests. They did, because of the nature of the fire, they did not follow the 2 in, 2 out rule. But in spite of that, they had a fantastic personnel accountability record. They kept track of everybody. Seemingly, they knew where everybody was at every minute. They did identify the room where the fire started. The room's occupant was deceased, so obviously they couldn't get information from there. The arson investigators had 2 theories. One, it was smoky materials, or 2, it was a malfunctioning oxygen device. And there were other oxygen devices in the building which, as the pressure went up, they released gas, and that started to accelerate the fire. The second one I had mentioned was that Shakopee, Minnesota had done an extensive study of their fire department. And what I've got is a summary of their findings. And this is very interesting. Shakopee's got a city of 47,000. But on day shift, they only had 4 firefighters. At the night, they depended solely upon 8 on-call firefighters. The study came about because Shakopee Department was having an average response time of 11 minutes and 27 seconds. And I see the chiefs. That's, was not good. This summarizes the findings, indicates what type of apparatus they have. The consultants noted in challenge number 1, the overall management culture was reactive and was more reflective of a department 20 years ago. They had broken relationships and trust with local mutual aid partners who did not believe the quality of training and safety programs exist. They didn't have a good inspection program. In fact, you can go through that and you can see there was major deficiencies. On the second page, I've got the proposals from the consultants. And then this was a recent newspaper article. That do it this way. And I just lost the copy. Thank you. Was it left over? This is from August 26th. Notice more than a year after an outside consultant found the Shakopee Fire Department inadequately staffed, city leaders so far haven't hired the recommended number of firefighters, raising questions about the department's ability to swiftly respond to emergencies. I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but there are 2 interesting comments. One from their city administrator, who from prior articles was noted as being extremely conservative fiscally. This was a roadmap, not a mandate. Well, from a personal perspective, when you only have 4 full-time firefighters, it seems the recommendation should be a mandate. The mayor is one that believes they shouldn't, at least as his quoted statements, they should not be looking at increasing their department. They should be looking at cooperation with other departments. If you look at a Minnesota map, where Shakopee is, it's not a short distance to some of the neighboring municipalities. And in recruiting people, it's interesting that Anoka County has, I believe it is references a fire district with 3 departments. They had an active recruiting program. And here you have Anoka, here you have Shakopee, basically the north-south line. You have one who's recruiting dynamically and the other that was static. So we have that much information. And now the last one, this illustrates where they've come in the last year. They actually have made improvements. They now have 15 full-time staff and 27 part-time staff. They went from 4 to 15, which at least was a start. This outlines what they currently do. An interesting finding in the initial study is that this fire department was actually doing tasks that were legislatively delegated strictly to the sheriff's office. And you'll notice and that was water rescue. And then you go through the rest of this, it gives you an idea of how they went up with their staffing, their equipment has stayed the same. They have 2 fire stations. Prior to this study, only 1 fire station was built. So you had to have volunteer, paid on call people to respond to the second fire station and get that apparatus out. I think it's a very interesting story about what happens if there's static thinking. And at least with both of our departments, static is a word that doesn't exist. We've got 2 very dynamic departments. And the last item, this was from 3 days ago. The Onalaska Police Department. This is quoted, after working out a deal with General Motors, the Onalaska Police Department is adding 2 new electric police vehicles to their fleet. They negotiated either an 8-year or 100,000-mile warranty.
What do you think?
It's free.
Shocking, very good.
Now, we just
Oh,
hope they keep those in a second garage.
Yeah. Well played.
And if anybody is interested, I have a picture, if I can find it, of a vehicle that would look pretty much like our anticipated mini rescue, a mini fire apparatus. If anybody's interested, I'll just keep it up here for a while. That was in Mansfield, Massachusetts. They've got a similar to a Kubota unit, pump, 70 gallons of water, hose line, and a rescue compartment for putting this structure around the board.
Thanks, Bill. Review and approve the 2026 Fire and Police Commission financial review schedule. Anybody don't like the schedule where their name is on the list? Welcome, Deb. I have a very invalid excuse for it. Thank you, Andy, for covering my butt. I appreciate that. Also has the regular meeting schedule on the other side. I don't think anybody has any issue. We should be good to go there. Items for future meetings.
2026 is the 25th anniversary of the attacks on the World Trade Center. For a future meeting or something organized by the chiefs, it might be time to start planning some sort of activity. And I'll just toss this in as a second item related to that. Everybody knows 343. We've got a memorial. Every firehouse in the country's got a frame photograph of the 343 firefighters. You never hear about the 72 police officers. I think for the 25th anniversary, I've got the names of the 72. I think we should put together a plaque or something that can go into the anniversary. I had no idea what that would cost. Cindy and I would be willing to donate part of the cost of that. So just something for the commissioners.
If that's something improved, I went to a training years ago, there was a officer from the NYPD that went up and down those stairs, I don't know which tower, like 6 to 8 different times, so if that can be researched, or maybe that be brought out, and maybe consideration of that person on black, or if there's somebody else that did something different. And I don't know the officer's name, it's, 10, 15 years ago that I learned that.
And I'll have to do some more checking, because I believe there was one police K-9 that also done it. So I'll try to check that out as well.
Any other items? Okay, adjourn to closed session under Wisconsin statutes, chapter 19.85, 1B, except as provided in S 304.061 EG, and by rule promulgated under statute 304.061 EM, considering specific applications of probation, extended supervision, or parole, considering strategy for crime detection or prevention, discussing strategies relating to counterterrorism. Motion to go to closed session.
I move to enter closed session.
Second.
Motion in a second. We need a roll call.
Pinker,
Yes.
Meek,
Yes.
Schutz,
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.